Let's be honest. Every man has felt that quiet sting when she says, "Don't worry, we're just friends." The words are calm, but your gut twists, because deep down, you know something's off. You tell yourself you're being insecure, that you should be the cool guy. But your instincts whisper something darker. If she's still close with her ex, that friendship isn't as innocent as it looks. And here's the truth most men never hear. When a woman stays friends with her ex, it's never just about being mature. It's about emotional insurance. She may not want him back, but she doesn't want to lose what he gave her either: validation, history, and a secret power over her own past. Women crave closure that feels safe, but most never truly let go. So they rewrite the narrative. We're just friends now. It sounds evolved, doesn't it? But beneath that, there's emotional residue, the kind that keeps you half inside a story that should have ended. She keeps that connection alive because it reminds her she was once desired, adored, chosen. For many women, that memory is intoxicating. And if you're the new man in her life, understand this: you're not competing with another man anymore. You're competing with the ghost of who she used to be when she was with him. When she says, "It's no big deal," what she really means is, "I still need what he represents." Maybe it's safety, maybe it's familiarity, or maybe it's proof she's still wanted by someone who once had her completely. And if you notice her tone soften when she mentions him, or if she gets defensive when you ask why they still talk, don't ignore it. That's her emotional reflex protecting a bond she can't fully explain. See, men tend to move on physically, women emotionally. And when she stays friends with her ex, it's not about him, it's about her. It's about holding on to a version of herself she doesn't want to lose. She might say, "He understands me better than anyone." That's not friendship. That's emotional dependency wearing a polite mask. And that mask fools a lot of good men into thinking everything's fine. But ask yourself, if the roles were reversed and you stayed friends with your ex, would she truly be okay with it? Would she trust your intentions the way she expects you to trust hers? You already know the answer, because deep down, she knows what women are capable of when emotion and memory intertwine. She knows what it feels like to still be drawn to someone who once made her feel alive. And that's why it's dangerous. Not because she's cheating, but because she's feeding an emotional connection that should have died. A connection that, one day, might whisper to her in the quiet moments, "What if you made a mistake letting him go? So, tell me, if the woman you love still talks to her ex, how long before that friendship starts rewriting the story of your relationship?" There's a hidden psychology behind why some women keep their exes close. And it's not what they tell you. When she says, "We just have a good friendship now," what she's really saying is, "I still want to feel the power of being desired without the pain of being committed." It's comfort without consequence, attention without attachment. Women are emotional architects. They build meaning out of memory. And when that memory once made them feel significant, they'll preserve it, even if it poisons their present. Think about it. Why do people keep old photos? Why do they revisit songs that hurt them? Because pain, when familiar, becomes a strange form of safety. That's how she feels about her ex. He represents a story she's not ready to close. And instead of facing the emptiness of letting it go, she keeps the door slightly open. Just enough to feel wanted, but not enough to be guilty. When you're the man she's with now, that dynamic can quietly drain you. You'll feel her divided attention. She'll reassure you. "He's just someone I talk to sometimes." But her tone will betray a softness that doesn't belong to you. You'll notice how she defends him, how she laughs a little differently when his name comes up. You'll sense the emotional fingerprints he left behind. They're invisible, but they're real. And here's the part most men miss. Women don't stay friends with their ex because they want them. They stay friends because they want to remain the woman he wanted. That version of herself, the one he adored, is a reflection she still clings to. Losing contact with him means losing access to that mirror, and that's why she protects the friendship, not for him, but for her own sense of value. She might tell herself it's maturity or compassion or closure, but emotionally, it's control. It's her way of deciding the ending on her terms. Because women don't like feeling discarded. They want to feel like they chose peace, not like they were replaced. So she'll frame it as a friendship, but really, it's a quiet way to keep power over her own past. And in that space, the line between affection and attachment blurs. Now, here's what makes it brutal. She'll still expect you to be loyal, to be emotionally exclusive, to give her all your focus, while she keeps a man from her past orbiting in her emotional galaxy. That's not equality, that's double standard wrapped in sentimentality. But if you question it, she'll make you feel insecure for noticing. That's the psychological reversal. She gets to maintain the illusion of control while you doubt your own intuition. But your instincts don't lie. When something feels off, it usually is. When a woman's past lingers too close to her present, she's either unsure of her future or using her past to hold emotional leverage. Either way, the truth remains. You can't build something real with someone who keeps a back door open. Tell me honestly, could you truly trust a woman who still texts her ex, "Good morning"? Or do you feel that quiet warning inside? The one that whispers, "She's not all yours yet." There's a certain emotional arrogance that lives inside a woman who stays friends with her ex. She believes she can handle it, that she's evolved enough to keep it pure. But what she doesn't understand, or refuses to admit, is that emotion doesn't disappear just because you've redefined the relationship. Attraction doesn't evaporate. It lingers like perfume on skin long after the person is gone. See, women are masters at emotional storytelling. They'll rewrite their history to make it feel cleaner, softer, safer. She'll say, "We've both moved on," yet her eyes flicker when his name appears on her phone. That flicker isn't friendship, it's residue. It's memory disguised as maturity. It's a spark she doesn't act on, but secretly needs to know still exists. Because for her, that spark validates something deeper, that she's still wanted, still remembered, still relevant in the heart of someone who once had all of her. And here's the twist, she doesn't have to cheat to betray you. Emotional loyalty is invisible but powerful. When her thoughts wander to him during quiet moments, when she compares how you love her to how he used to, when she silently replays what went wrong, that's where the real betrayal lives. It's not physical, it's psychological. You see, a woman can claim closure, but closure doesn't exist if the story still feeds her ego, if she still gets that dopamine rush when he compliments her or likes her post. That's not closure, that's emotional currency. She's still trading in the old economy of validation. And whether she admits it or not, that keeps her from giving you her full emotional investment, because part of her still lives somewhere else, in an unfinished chapter. The hardest part for men to accept is this. She might genuinely care about you, but that doesn't mean she's fully available to love you. A woman who keeps her ex around is subconsciously splitting her emotional energy. One part in the past, one part in the present, and that division makes her unpredictable. Warm one moment, distant the next. You'll feel it, even if she swears nothing's wrong, because emotional disconnection doesn't need words. It shows up in energy, in tone, in the silence between texts. And when she says you're overthinking it, understand this, and that's not reassurance, that's deflection. She's not comforting you, she's protecting her illusion, because deep down, she knows what it looks like. She knows it's unfair, but admitting that means confronting her own emotional hypocrisy. The part of her that wants the freedom to keep one foot in the past while demanding your full trust in the present. So many men fall into this trap because they mistake her calmness for innocence. But emotional control isn't the same as emotional honesty. Sometimes the woman who seems most composed is the one still wrestling with her ghosts. So ask yourself, brother, if she truly let him go, why does his presence still echo through her life? Why does she keep revisiting a door she swears she's already closed? Here's the part few men have the courage to face. When a woman stays friends with her ex, she's not just keeping him, she's keeping a version of herself that she doesn't want to lose. That relationship, whether it ended in chaos or calm, shaped her identity. It made her feel things she can't easily replicate. So even if she swears she's moved on, part of her clings to the memory of who she was when she felt desired by him. And that's the danger. Because it's not about the man himself, it's about the feeling he represents. Women are emotional time travelers. They revisit memories to re-experience emotions. And every text, every friendly chat with an ex is a small trip back to that version of herself, the one who once felt young, wild, beautiful, understood. That nostalgia can be intoxicating. She doesn't even realize she's doing it, but it's like a drug, a quiet addiction that slowly eats away at her present relationship, because no matter how loyal she tries to be, she's emotionally torn between who she was and who she's trying to become. The brutal truth? You can't compete with a ghost. A memory has no flaws, no arguments, no human reality. It's been polished by time and softened by selective remembering. When she looks back, she doesn't recall the fights or the heartbreak. She remembers how alive she felt when he looked at her like she was his entire world. That's the energy she keeps chasing, even while standing beside you. And if you've ever felt like she's physically there, but emotionally far away, that's why. But here's what makes it even more complex. Women crave emotional security, yet they also crave emotional stimulation. Her ex often represents the chaos, the unpredictability, the thing that made her heart race even if it broke her later. With you, she may feel safe, but safe doesn't always feel alive, and so she keeps that friendship as a spark, a reminder that she can still feel that thrill, without fully stepping into the danger again. She wants both the calm and the storm. That's why, even if she never crosses a physical line, her loyalty becomes fragmented. You'll sense it in how she talks about him, the softness in her tone, the quick defense when you question it. She'll call it respect. But deep down, it's attachment disguised as nostalgia. And that nostalgia can quietly sabotage your connection because you're trying to build something new while she's emotionally anchored to the past. And yet, most men stay silent. They fear being labeled jealous or controlling, but here's the truth. Emotional boundaries aren't insecurity. They're self-respect. You have every right to protect your peace, to draw a line where your heart begins to feel unsafe. Because being the understanding man while she emotionally entertains another version of herself isn't strength. It's slow self-abandonment. So before you call it trust, ask yourself this. Is she truly being transparent, or are you just afraid to confront the part of her that's still living in a love story that didn't die? It just changed its name. When a woman stays friends with her ex, she's testing something. Not just you, but herself. She wants to see if she's really over him or if that emotional thread still has power. It's a quiet experiment played out in real time. One message here, a memory there, a casual, "How have you been?" that seems harmless but carries hidden weight, because every interaction is a small spark of validation, proof that she can still draw emotion from the man who once held her completely. And even if she never says it out loud, that validation feeds something deep inside her. But here's the part that hurts the most. While she's feeding her curiosity, you're starving for certainty. You start questioning things you never used to question. You start wondering why her phone lights up at night. You notice how her energy shifts after those conversations, not dramatically, but enough to make you feel replaced in some small, invisible way. And when you bring it up, she'll make you feel guilty for caring. "He's just a friend," she'll say. "Why are you so insecure?" But that's not insecurity, that's intuition, the voice of your inner awareness trying to protect you from emotional danger. You see, women know the power of attention. They know that even a small amount of emotional energy can create attachment. That's why she doesn't fully cut him off. Not because she's in love, but because she loves being reminded that she was loved. That memory keeps her emotionally alive. But for you, it's death by 1,000 doubts. You start minimizing your feelings just to keep the peace, thinking that silence equals strength. But silence, in this case, is surrender. And here's the psychological twist most men never see coming. The longer she maintains that connection, the more she trains herself to emotionally compare. You might win in stability, but he wins in nostalgia. You represent safety, he represents intensity. And that inner comparison becomes poison. Because women don't always leave physically. Sometimes they leave emotionally first. And by the time you realize it, you're already trying to pull her back from a past she refuses to stop revisiting. So what do? You draw the line not out of anger, but out of awareness. You stop trying to compete with what no longer exists. You understand that love without exclusivity isn't love, it's tolerance. And the moment you start tolerating emotional overlap, you start losing yourself piece by piece. You stop being the man she respects, and you become the man who accepts half of her heart while pretending it's enough. The truth is, she may not even mean to hurt you. She's caught between wanting comfort and craving control. But you have to decide what kind of love you want, one that's shared with ghosts or one that's rooted in truth. Because no matter how mature she claims that friendship is, if it costs you peace, it's not maturity. It's manipulation dressed as empathy. Let's be brutally honest, brother. When a woman keeps her ex in her orbit, it's not always about love. Sometimes it's about control, a quiet form of dominance over her past, her emotions, and the men around her. It's her way of saying, I decide who stays close, even if the chapter is over. But what she doesn't realize is that in doing so, she traps herself, and you, in emotional limbo. Because no relationship built on half closure ever truly breathes. It just survives. Women are emotional strategists. They know how to keep ties that make them feel powerful without appearing disloyal. It's not calculated cruelty, it's unconscious protection. She tells herself she's being kind, staying in touch as friends, but beneath that kindness is an ego that doesn't want to be forgotten. That's why she answers his texts. That's why she smiles when he compliments her, because it feels good to be remembered, even when she's moved on. But here's what she doesn't see. Every time she revisits that past, she disrespects her present. Every message to him is a small subtraction from what she could be giving you. Every moment of nostalgia weakens the foundation she's standing on. And when that emotional gap grows wide enough, something changes in you, your eyes, your energy, your silence. You begin to pull away, not out of spite, but out of exhaustion. Because loving someone who's emotionally divided is like building a home on shifting sand. No matter how much effort you pour in, it will always crumble beneath the weight of what's unfinished. You start to realize that love isn't just about who someone chooses, it's about who they exclude. Real loyalty isn't tested when things are easy, but when the past knocks at the door. And if she opens it, even a little, that tells you everything you need to know. A woman who truly values her man doesn't keep old flames burning just in case. She lets the ashes be ashes, because she understands that true strength isn't in staying connected to the past, but in closing the door without needing to look back. So what's your move? You don't beg. You don't accuse. You observe. You communicate your boundary calmly, with quiet certainty. You let her decide which version of herself she wants to live in, the one that craves reassurance from an old story, or the one that chooses you completely. And if she hesitates, if she dances in the gray area, you walk. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally learned to care about yourself more. Men who understand their value don't compete with the past. They let it go and expect the same in return. Because peace is more powerful than possession, respect is worth more than reassurance, and emotional clarity is worth more than any mature friendship that leaves you sleepless at night. So I'll leave you with this. If she still keeps her ex close, ask yourself, is she holding on to love or to leverage